Because I think it's something like Heroes for Hire that they always try and kind of jump back into, or like when they
Mm-hmm.
just team Luke and Danny up, and it's like, yeah, it was great for the '70s or whenever it came out, but it's like now it just doesn't hit the same.
I don't think people are interested in purchasing heroes to do work anymore. I think they
Mm,
want to just see them do it. You know,
that's a I can see that.
people ain't got
Yeah.
no money. Well, I got money. I don't got no money to own a hero.
That's,
I
I was
barely
saying,
got
that's
money
like
for me.
kind. That's always kind of like messed up. Can you imagine going around saving people? All right, $30. I,
What if I ain't got it?
it's just like, well, guess you're not getting saved today.
Could you imagine being on the other side though, and you're the hero, and it's like I'm charging you the $100, and they're like, oh, well, can I Venmo you the rest? All I got is 20. Can I
Uh,
Venmo you the rest?
yeah, like, I'll take your phone instead. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Or I'm just gonna put this cat back in the tree. How about that?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another relaunch. We're your host. I'm the oh. You know what? I'm going to be Casper from Seven Secrets. So you need to actually be reading Seven Secrets to know who Casper is. That's like a hint that you should
Okay,
be reading Seven Secrets.
okay. And I am Mr. Dick Grayson Nightwing, back in blue.
I'm sorry to hear
Boom, boom, boom. You know.
that. Welcome back. How are you this week, my guy?
I am good. I've been really crazy busy with work,
Mhm.
but that's just life. Still
Okay.
been kicking it, playing my PlayStation 5. I've been working my way through Witcher 3.
Mm.
This
So
game is long though. Like,
Oh my god,
damn.
so that's what I was about to say. So it was like I played The Witcher 3, because it got like all those really great reviews and everything like that. And I did not finish that game whatsoever. I think I got maybe like 10%. And I was like, I had been playing this game for like a month and a half at this point. And I
Right?
was like, damn, I'm still nowhere near finished. So I just kind of gave up. And it was crazy because I knew this guy. He told me he beat it like 3 times. And I said, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous
One
that you
my
played
best
it
friend
this
told
much.
me he beat it twice, and I was like,
How? But it also made me realize that while I do like an open world RPG, I don't like my world like that open. I
it's
like
pretty big.
I kind of like a Dragon Age where when you hit a certain point,
Classic.
your characters can't move anymore. It's like man, you go too far now. You need to turn
That
back
invisible.
around. Yeah, I need that invisible wall. When it's just like you just walking for days, I'm just like, all right, I gotta cut it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So good luck with that.
And then well, no, I put it on the back burner for a little bit because I've also been I've been replaying Kingdom Hearts because I
Mhm.
bought Kingdom Hearts 3 and never played it. So I
I've
was like, let
never
me
played a
replay the
Kingdom
first.
Hearts
They are fun, but confusing as hell. Can I
game.
tell you what the story is about? No. Something
Sure.
about the Heartless? Am I why do I play it? Because the Disney stuff is fun.
Okay,
So
that makes
yeah.
sense. I always like hear people talking about the keys and like I see the
Yeah.
little giant keys and they have them up on their wall. And I know it's
It
like
looked
really
cool.
popular because everyone's always talking about like this next Kingdom Hearts game that's supposed to come out that I don't think has come out. Um, but I don't know.
I think they done.
Well, not good for them, but
Have you caught up with Young Justice?
yes,
Did you watch it all? Okay.
yeah, because they're on a break right now, right? The Zatanna arc was
Done a
last.
break.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
watched it. Good stuff. It's
Great
alright.
stuff.
It's
How did you feel
good.
about Zatanna's arc?
I thought it was cool. I didn't really feel like there was as much Zatanna in it as I would have liked, but
Mm.
I do appreciate like the rest of the crew. Like I like all those characters. Mary, her story arc was cool. Khalid,
Mary was dope.
Tracy, they were all great. I did like how it kind of ended though with Zatanna. Like I think a lot of times in comics people try and portray her as like this perfect character, even though she's like very obviously not. She does a lot of messed up stuff. Remember when she erased Batman's mind? It was like a really big thing.
Yes. she is
uh,
she is not like morally good. She will
no,
do whatever
she's not. And
like
I
most
really like,
characters.
yeah, and I feel like this arc really like emphasized that and reminded you of that, because I feel like Zatanna's a very likable character, and because she's so likable, you
Yeah.
kind of get wrapped up in it, and then like she does something messed up, and it's just like, oh damn, like you kind of messed up, but I still
She's
really
still a
like
magic
you.
girl.
And do what it needs to be done.
hmm I did notice that the coolest character of that magic arc was the superhero.
Mary,
Just saying. Mary was dope, yeah.
but she still used magic, so it's like it didn't matter.
We know what she was. They called her a superhero in the show.
Well,
But you know.
that was a really good arc for her too, and I'm excited. I don't know. Did you ever read like that whole like Dark Miss Marvel, Mary Marvel story in DC?
No. Mm-mm.
So it was
I was
like,
never big into like the Shazam family. I like some of them, like Osiris, I think, and there was another Black Adam, like Junior. They were kind of cool, but I never really
yeah,
got into them
I
like that.
remember him because I think he was like a Titan for a little bit during the Wonder
Yeah.
arc. Well, I also was never really big into the Shazam family like that, but I do really remember this arc of Mary Marvel getting possessed by Eclipso or something like that, and so she went dark. She had on this little black skirt, long sleeve costume with the lightning bolt thing. One of the hottest costumes I've ever seen in my life. Like, yes. And there's like this one cover of her, and she's like kind of like flying up in the air, like her arms are thrown back. And I guess she like said Shazam or something. So the lightning's coming down and striking her, and like her body is black and white, but you really like just see like emphasis on the costume and the lightning strike. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Mm,
I stand just
okay.
because of that. Can't tell you much else, but I stand because of that.
We
Here
love a
for
good
it.
costume.
Always. And speaking of, let's go ahead and get to these comics. And starting off with our first issue is Seven Secrets number 13, that you guys should be reading. And this has like been back from its hiatus that it was on. Tom Taylor writes it. Danielle Dianico continues on the art. And it just like continues a really great story. I don't know if you remember in the last issue, Casper was like flying. He saved everybody and they
Hmm
were kind of freaked out about it. And so this issue that starts with him doing his narration, he's like, I'm Casper, I've done this, this, and this. I know these people. He's like, this is the story of how I died, and it shows this big splash page of him with his head cut off and like his mom over his body crying. And he's like, I can't tell you what happens after this for obvious reasons, but I can tell you how we get up to it. And we run into him and all the folks he's with that are a part of the like holders and secret keeper side. And his mom's been shot. She's losing blood. So he's like, you need to tell me what's going on. And like, why can I fly? And I was raised by the fairies. And what is all this stuff about me? And she's like, I can't tell you anything yet. And then on the other side, you have Kanto and Amon, who they just killed my girl LaQuisha last issue. They are now looking into one of the secrets, and they see like all these different futures. And apparently Casper is a big deal in one of these futures, and he needs to die. So Amon's like, we need to go and kill him. Somebody's like, I can't really kill him. He's like, well, if you can't do it, at least don't stop me as I go to do it. And they're like, okay, cool. And so now we're kind of like running into the collision of that, of like Amon and Kanto and that crew coming to kill Casper for whatever future he might hold, and then Casper and his crew not knowing what's going on and just trying to figure more about his life. It just continues to be like a really good book. I have some like qualms about a Tom Taylor series every now and again, but this has continued to like be consistently good throughout. It really ramps up the action. Like it feels impactful. Like the characters are really interesting. The art is beautiful. I'm so glad the title is back. I think everyone should be reading it. I think everyone should go and pick it up.
What would you rate this issue?
Oh, I will rate it a 4 out of 5 for sure. For
Okay.
sure. For sure. Pick it up, guys. And then next up, we have another. Tom Taylor kind of owns a lot of these Wednesdays. Now that I think about it, he's writing a lot of
He's got a lot of
stuff.
books out.
He's got a lot of books out.
Yeah.
This next one is Nightwing number 88, and this comes from him and Bruno Redondo. Take it away. Has Nightwing gotten
Yes.
interesting yet?
Yes, he is. Per usual, Nightwing is killing it in his book, and this issue starts with him going and coming back from a rescue, and unfortunately, he goes back into his apartment and like Barbara's there because like
Well,
I
should
guess
she
they're
do?
like dating for real. Yeah, unfortunately, like they really ramping this thing up, but whatever. But she tells him that there is this like hit out on him, but not Nightwing. It's on Dick Grayson because he did go on national TV, or at least out in Bloodhaven, and say that he was going to be like revitalizing Bloodhaven. I have all this money. I want to like change everything. So he's got a hit out on him from mobsters. It turns out this hit is from Blockbuster, who people probably may have seen in Young Justice or in any other. He's
I don't know
a
why
regular
when you
villain.
just said Blockbuster, I immediately thought of the store. I
The
was about
store.
to say, I was about to say, wait, why is Blockbuster? What do you mean? He
They
ain't turned
definitely
shit back
don't even
in?
have those. I don't
Hmm.
even think there is a Blockbusters anymore. But yeah, so he has his hit out on him, and actually, what ends up happening while he's about to like break ground, where previously a bunch of these kids were like their parents were getting killed by this guy named the Heartless, who was like ripping out hearts from people. They set up this like camp there. So what Dick is doing is he's turning this entire area into like a place for them, but he wants it to be for them and by them. So the kids are there with them, and they're about to like break ground on this thing, and there's about to be you see this shot about to come, and
Yeah.
it goes off, but who stops the shot? Starfire.
Oh
And
wow,
Star and Donna both stop the sniper. The sniper's name was
Donna.
Gun Bunny. Yeah. And it turns out there was an entire hit of people, a hit squad out there who were going to attack Dick Grayson from Blockbuster. And the entire Titans team shows up and helps him out. And they take
Oh,
down this back. They go up to Blockbuster. Starfire stands in front of him and is like, don't bother Dick. He's protected by the Titans. If you got a problem, you can talk to me.
yeah.
And yeah, so it was a nice like catch up with the Titans. It really just reminds you that like Dick knows everybody and is like really cool with everybody. Mr. Terrific was in this as well. They felt like they needed to um when they saved him from getting shot by the sniper,
Hmm.
Wally took Dick and like ran super fast to Mr. Terrific and told him like you need to be suited up as Nightwing, and we made you this new suit. And it explained that's basically them explaining why Nightwing he got a new suit in this issue. Now
Hmm.
he's got the blue that goes all the way down to the fingers instead of just like
Ooh.
this. I
Nightwing does have
personally
a
like,
hot suit though.
yeah, he does. He's got a really dope suit. He's really like the mold for that like street level person with that like ninja
Sleek,
stuff.
sleek black
Yeah.
with just like the blue
Yeah.
on it. Even like the original. Well, no, the original one was kind of flashy. Very light blue, had the yellow on
Yeah. With the yellow.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind some like the little yellow elements coming back into it to like spice up the
Mm.
costume. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, beautiful issue, Bruno Redondo. The issue ends by one of the snipers being caught by the Heartless person because they
Hmm.
wanted to find out what they were working for. They find they're working for Blockbuster, and Heartless kills the sniper, rips his heart out. So I'm assuming eventually Nightwing and Heartless are going to be coming head to head eventually. So that's what we're building
Okay.
towards. The next issue, it looks like Superman, but it's John Kent Superman is going to
Mm.
be making an appearance. Um, so yeah,
Do
great issue.
Starfire and Batgirl say anything to each other? Are they like doing that love
Yeah,
triangle
they talk.
thing?
No, but it wasn't a love triangle. It was like they were just talking to each other about like the mission. It was
Oh.
like it was nothing. They aren't doing like a love triangle thing between. There wasn't any kind of like animosity between them. There wasn't
I
any
was
even kind
like,
of like flirtation between Nightwing and
oh,
Starfire. I know. I know.
what?
I
That's not
know.
hot. What do you
I
mean?
know.
Okay. Well, good for them. I always like when the Titans show up. Again, I'm a Titans purist. So
Hmm.
I do love all of those relationships and what they do, and like when they get together. Like Donna and Dick used to be like very, very close back in the day. So I
Yeah.
always kind of love when they like re-jump. And pop back
And it
up.
was
So
all of
that's
them. It was Wally, Beast Boy, Cyborg, the whole crew. Really
Cyborg.
great. Yeah, he was there too.
Why was Cyborg be there? He wasn't a Titan.
Oh right. Well, in this he was. Okay. They said we're gonna have this splash page of all of them together, and Cyborg will be there. So
Okay. Well, shout out to him. You know, I know the people miss it.
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, overall, I would give this a 4 out of 5. I prefer to have Nightwing in Bloodhaven and not in Gotham, like running around with Batman and all of them. I like when he's off doing his own thing. They're really establishing how like great of a person that Dick is with him trying to like give his money and stuff away and help the people. And like I said, I love a good Titans cameo. Starfire looked really good in this, so that's my girl.
That is always a plus. Okay. Next up, we have Nubia and the Amazons #4, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't get a chance to read this yet. Do you know how big my this was? I think I still have like
it was a really long week for this one. And you get to miss out on when you get a chance to finally get to reading it, you'll see that this issue took place in Chicago.
Oh, so, okay. Well, tell me what happened.
Shout out to my hometown.
I want to be excited.
Okay, so this issue opens with there being like this assembly with all of the Amazons talking to Nubia about how we're gonna handle this whole Andromeda and Medusa situation. One Amazon is like, she feels as though like we should have been better at protecting the door, like we're not doing a great job at it. And Philippus is like, watch your mouth, girl, because Nubia used to be the one before back in the door, and so they have a whole like beef. And then we get these flashbacks of Nubia in Chicago and at the field museum. Shout out to that. I used to go there back when I lived there, especially when I was younger. And like this random creature, I forget what it's called. That's like it's a lion with a scorpion tail and like wings. A manticore. It's like this creature like comes in there and attacks. Nubia shows up and she rescues this black woman and her class from this manticore, and then they end up like walking home together, and it's like showing this relationship between Nubia and this black girl like back in the past, I think.
Okay, they gave her a black girlfriend after all.
Yeah, she does have a black girlfriend, and it's like this girl. From the way that it looks like this took place like when she took a break from the death's door, so before she was queen. So this is like giving a bit more of her backstory there. And yeah, so then we find out that that Nubia is going off to go do more preparing for Medusa because she feels like she's gonna go and go through Doom's door. Yeah. That's kind of hard to say. So she finally gets this weapon, which I think is really dope. Y'all know I love a staff, and Nubia gets this specially made weapon that is both a staff and it like collapses into a whip. Like she could use it like a whip, and she can straighten it like a staff. And she talks about how like it's balanced because you can do both. I think it's dope. Definitely, I think it's really cool that they gave her own weapon that separates her from the other Amazons. So yeah, then she goes through Doom's door because she's of course going to go get Medusa, and she fights these harpies. She like does a superhero landing in there. I will say again, like not Medusa. Nubia like is kind of perfect. Like she doesn't have any kind of flaw. But she like fights these harpies and beats them. Then she fights this like Hydra. She brings Medusa the only thing that she wants, and that's like her old head. And like she wants her to free Andromeda. So yeah, I guess in the next issue we're gonna see what Medusa's gonna be doing with his head and stuff like that. So
come on, reforming Medusa.
Yeah.
What would you rate
hair sick in this? Honestly, I would give this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I do enjoy all of the backstory that they've been giving to Nubia. Again, I love that weapon that she got in this. Actually, I might give this a 4. This is a good lot better than I've been.
Okay.
Movie was kind of nasty. And like I said, characters like this, like
That's what
one
you want
thing
to
I
see.
like is I want to see them do their thing. So, and
Yeah.
she was beating ass in this.
Okay.
And we, like I said, we got to see more of her personal life, like before, with her when she used to guard Doom's door, and kind of when she kind of left for a little bit and took a little escape. She fought that Manticore, gave her a black girlfriend. So yeah, I did like this issue. I give it a 4.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Nubia. Everybody should pick
Yeah.
that up. Next up on our list is we have a Death of Doctor Strange tie-in, and that's with the X-Men and Black Knight from Simon Spurrier and Bob Quinn. Now, I did get a chance to read this. Now, let me tell you something really fast. I'm sorry to all the Black Knight fans out there. I do not find them interesting.
Mm-mm.
I went. Black Knight got like a little mini series earlier this year, or excuse me, earlier last year, 2021, from Simon Spurrier, and it's on Marvel Unlimited. If anybody would like to go check it out, but I read it, and like Dane Whitman is just not an interesting character to me, and I think the most interesting thing about him is that everybody else in the Marvel universe does not find him enjoyable. Like even in that miniseries, he like comes to team up with the Avengers, and they're talking about him. Thor calls him a loser, and like Captain Marvel's kind of like, oh, I feel bad for him. They don't really care too much for him, but Steve is like, be nice. And I feel like that was kind of continued here. I do like that this gave a little bit more about all the like otherworld stuff, Merlin, Mordred, which also popped up in that Black Knight miniseries. I think one thing that is really interesting about the X-Men and like this kind of Krakoa era is that a lot of them are introducing concepts and other writers are also continuing to add to those concepts. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say they probably would have liked some of this otherworld stuff to be in Excalibur itself, but I also like that another writer gets to like kind of just put their own little spin or like add their own little part of the world into the book that like continues to expand it and they're all playing with each other. It just makes the line feel a lot more cohesive and like that's very nice that they do that. Um I thought Bob Quinn's art was really good on this, a lot stronger
Mm.
than what he did on Way of X. I can feel like he kind of pushed himself to get like some of the magic stuff. The designs that he did for the characters were like creepy. I think his art has this kind of like
I like
cartoon
Thorn's design.
feel. Yeah, it's a little cartoony like Saturday morning, but like it works at the same time. I think the biggest takeaway from this issue is that we find out that Dane Whitman's daughter, who is also operating as the Black Knight, she's a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that
They just made
one.
everybody a mutant.
Okay, so that's what I was about to say, but I'm gonna say I think that's a good thing. Like I think
Mm.
about the past few years where the Foxmen were running rampant and the MCU was just getting started, and like mutants obviously took a little bit of a backseat in the line, and a lot of those characters who had been mutants started to be revealed as not to be mutants, like a Squirrel Girl. They always play with Franklin Richards, like Cloak and Dagger. They always kind of go back and forth with them. But I think a lot of those characters were like taken away, and I kind of like that they're reintroducing that back in. It's like, hey, we got all these random mutants. Mordred's a mutant. This Black Knight girl's a mutant. Franklin's once again not a mutant, but they're popping
That's
up.
gonna change.
Yeah, of course. And that they show that the mutants exist beyond just the X-Men and Krakoa. If you're going to continue to push them as like this line of people who can like be anywhere, then you really do have to put them everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was nice.
Yeah. I thought the issue was okay. I'm just saying, I don't think
It was okay.
I don't think Spurrier's for me. I didn't like the dialogue in a lot of this. I appreciated the explanations for all of the different like magical items in this, which I thought was kind of cool. So in this issue, like Black Knight is on this like throne, and it's made of all these like magical items, and like he talks about how the ebony sword is this like
I don't like that
magical item. Did you like that I don't know if it was kind of a retcon or something, but like they said that the ebony blade was made from, I think, the stone of the Sword in the Stone?
I don't remember. Like I feel like maybe they said something about that in his miniseries, but again, I didn't. I think what you said about Spurrier's dialogue is very spot on. I think he writes certain characters very well. I think he has a specific voice that he
Mm.
uses for a lot of the characters, and it's very similar. Like he himself is from the UK, so it's like I feel like the accent kind of is on everybody in a lot of his work.
But it seemed
Uh,
like every person, every other line was like a like side comment. You know how someone would say like,
mhm,
"Oh, I can't go there," and then like underneath their breath they'll be like, "Because X, Y, and Z is gonna happen." It seemed
mhm,
like every every other line was that where like Dane would say something and then like he'd say like, "Oh, Jack, you can't go and do that," and he under his
mhm.
breath he'd say something like something smart or something funny, and it's like,
Yeah,
damn.
very quip. It's very quippy.
Yeah.
Um, no, I think that's also pretty consistent with a lot of his work that I've read. I think the characters that he writes well, he writes very well. But I think he, like you said, everything's very quippy. I think he gives the same voice to a lot of characters. His voice,
Hmm.
in particular.
I tapped into this because Lorna was in it,
Yes, we
and
know.
she really do too much in this, so like whatever. And but then I
Yes.
also was hoping that it was going to be a little bit more of a cool story of it. I thought it was going to be more of a team up with the X-Men, but they like
And that's
instantly
what.
got changed into like
Yeah.
monsters.
This was more like a Black Knight story,
This is a Black Knight story. I
and
thought it
it's
was going to
like,
be a team up.
and Black Knight. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the Black Knight fans. I'm sorry to the Dane Whitman fans who are coming in from the MCU. He's
Hmm.
just. I'm sorry.
Only
I
thing
give
I
it a
like
three
about
out of
him
five.
is that was Exodus's homeboy back in the day. But then they didn't even like each other. They fought and then they separated. So,
They were friends.
hmm
Oh,
but he picked Black Knight picked Cersei over his friend.
okay. We've all been there. What would you rate this?
I mean, I give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, I would
Maybe
too.
it's I make it 2.5.
All right, so we're gonna move on, and that is to the Devil's Reign tie-in, Villains for Hire #1. I heard about this, but I didn't pick it up. Was it good? Should I go back and
You
pick it
didn't
up?
need to. No, you didn't need to. So this book also I picked up because Taskmaster, you know, is another favorite of mine.
Mm.
Taskmaster had that really great mini, and I was thought that this was going to be like a trajectory into more appearances of him like that. That has not been the case so far. Well, in Devil's Reign, the main series,
Hmm.
when he was beating Ben Riley, Spider-Man's ass, and threw him out that window, that was nice. But
Okay.
this appearance for him in this mini, he didn't really like do too much. The Thunderbolts show up and they're trying to stop this. They show up at the Met Gala, which I
Okay.
guess just happens to also be happening at the same time during Devil's Reign.
I was about to say during
Um,
Devil's Reign.
right.
Well, that actually feels accurate.
They randomly show up during the Met Gala to stop these people called the Human Liberation Movement,
Hmm.
and it's these regular people who feel like, oh, these celebrities are spending so much money, people are starving, we want to like take back, and we're for the people. But then the Thunderbolts show up and stop them, and and the Thunderbolts are Whiplash, Rhino, Electro, and this other character called Agony, who it looks like they're related to like Venom or something.
I'm out.
And and Taskmaster was the other member. And they end up like killing all of this movement of people who tried to break up the Met Gala. And they go back to their headquarters and they're waiting to meet up with Kingpin, but like they have like 6 pages of them all fighting each other because they're just sitting in a room. Like they I was like, what? So
What do you mean?
they get into this room where they're waiting to meet with Kingpin, and I guess he's taking too long. So one person starts to get up to leave, and then they like all just start fighting each other. And then Kingpin shows up and he tells them like, relax, don't fight each other. Like you guys are my new Thunderbolts. And then U.S. Agent shows up at the end, and he says, I'm here to join the
No, I don't
Thunderbolts.
like him.
No, me neither. Well, I mean, I think let me take that back. It's not that I dislike U.S. Agent, because like, isn't that the point of him? Aren't you supposed to like dislike him?
Yes, that is true. He's
So
not a
like,
good person.
he's not a good person. I think that's the point of him.
Well, what would you rate this?
I don't even know. Well, I don't even know. Maybe I'd give it like a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh,
And y'all
okay.
know I also like my favorite Spider-Man villain is Electro. But like this was Francine Fry, the female Electro, because I think Max died, but then they tried to bring him back, but it was after they had her, so like they kind of sticking with her. And like she doesn't have his kind of personality where like, sometimes where they kind of change or retcon the character, they may still give that character like the personality of the other one.
You know what I just realized? Every time you've been saying Electro is your favorite Spider-Man villain, I've been thinking about the Shocker.
Why?
And I feel like because I've always been like, oh yeah, I really like Electro too, but I don't like Electro. I like Shocker. He's the
Okay.
he's the yellow and red one, right?
Yes. With
Yes.
the his gauntlets give him the vibration powers.
Yes, that's the one I like.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had that realization. Like because
Okay.
like once you said like the female Electro, I was like, there's a female Electro, and then like it all clicked.
It clicked. Okay.
Yeah.
They are not related with one another. And Shocker.
Oh wow!
Shocker
But I
doesn't
don't really go
have,
into the Spider-Verse that often, so it's like forgive me for my ignorance.
Well, they have a female Electro, and her name is Electro. She got her powers because she kissed the other Electro, like while he was dying. It was weird. Yeah.
Sounds weird.
And then like she does his. I always love Electro, Max Electro, because he doesn't give a fuck. Like he just is trying to get money, and he's just a villain to be a villain. And I appreciate villains like that. She is like deranged, or like just kind of like flies off the cuff. So I don't really like. Excuse me.
What?
Oh, okay. Anyway. Anyway, I would give this issue 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Well. All right, moving on, I guess. To the next Devil's Reign tie-in is X-Men. This is from Jerry Duggan and Phil Noto. Now, this was the issue I thought was fine. The villains for hire, the new Thunderbolts, they actually come to like the treehouse and they're telling the X-Men, this is public property, you gotta go. Fisk is telling you, get out of here. They're like talking about it. Emma comes in, she's called some people so they can stay because it's now like a landmark. We also learned the history of Elektra and Emma. I kind of breezed through that because that's how I did about this issue also. Elektra and Emma.
I liked it, so I ain't breezed none of it.
I mean, you would like it.
It's got my girls in it.
Polaris in it.
Uh-huh. And it I like the story. One thing I've always been missing is Elektra going lethal. So this opens up with Elektra slicing somebody's throat. And
because it's old Elektra, she doesn't do that anymore. She's a good girl now.
She's literally leaving this soon. Elektra number 100 coming out in April, y'all. Check that out. So this opens up with her murdering someone, and then Kingpin is telling his assistant, he's got these 2 jobs. Give one to Elektra, give one to Emma. I didn't know that Emma was once, I think
that just got introduced. Like this is like a new thing that's being added to her history.
It makes sense.
It works. She gets around.
Yeah. And I wasn't even also mad at the way that they presented her coming in and stopping the Thunderbolts from taking down the tree or like having any kind of issues by making it like it's basically an embassy now.
Yeah.
But still makes me wonder if the X-Men are just gonna operate out of that embassy or if they're gonna like go someplace else. The one thing I really appreciated about this issue was the way that Duggan portrayed the differences in the way that the women all approached all the situations, with like Emma being very political and backhanded, and I'm going to work behind the scenes with something, and Jean being presented with an issue and wanting to be complicit and just like, let's just work with them, let's all like kumbaya, and my girl Lorna being there like, I'm just here to kick it. I'm here
Mhm.
to support the team, and that's what she did until you mess with me. And
I did
you
like
know,
her little like frisbee moment with U.S. Agent and like throwing that back, and then even the part where he's like trying to attack, he's like telling the guards to attack, and she's like holding them all magnetically closed. Like
mhm,
those, she had a
all those
nice little
trucks.
thing. I did also
Yeah.
think I saw someone make a joke on Twitter about the moment where she's flying at them, and she's like, "Do you think I mind going in the hole?" Because she's obviously about to kill them, and it's like that person don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. She like, yeah, because Electro, Francine Electro shoots my girl.
Yeah.
And after she was trying to make peace, she said, "You know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll give you your frisbee back." And she attacks my girl. She's like, "Hold on now. I have no problem killing you." But of course, they don't know what that
No,
is.
of course.
Do you think those
Um,
those kind of things are ever gonna like start to leak out?
yes. I mean, they had the Avengers sitting in one
Yeah.
when they said toe to the hole. Like
I
somebody going,
wouldn't. I can read that.
the X-Men are not good at keeping their secrets,
Mm.
or like someone's gonna like backstab somebody else and like tell people purposely. But whatever. Um, I think this issue also was an example of why I don't really care for Phil Noto's art when he's
Mm.
like doing interiors. Again, I think like when he does covers or like poster type of work, it's beautiful. He puts a lot of detail in it. I think a lot of times with his regular interior art, it tends to either feel rushed or incomplete a little bit.
Hmm.
And
There was a
it
moment, a
just,
shot of the team all together, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks
yeah.
like you did that yesterday." But
Yeah.
I do, what I like about his art are the close-up shots that he does with characters. He really does great with like facial expressions and like the ticks in people's faces.
And that's my thing. I feel like even his close-up shots in this issue weren't really like hitting the way they usually do. And he's done that, like, and I'll give him that. I think a lot of times his close-ups are really, really good. I don't know. Here, I think it was just kind of lacking all around.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe he's quick because he's not
I like the
rushed.
way that this story ended with a Kingpin, basically finding out that the X-Men aren't leaving, and they have now been turned into an embassy, so they don't have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, how about we tell some people about this murder that happened, because he does not obviously like being played by Emma Frost. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes back to bite her,
I
if
really
it
love
does.
Fisk in charge. I will say that. I will say that also. It seems like these Devil Rain tie-ins are kind of giving the meat to the story that is lacking in the main Devil's Reign event, which is very similar to Civil War 2, Carol's event.
You know, um, I was wondering if this event would have hit harder, in my opinion, if it was like company wide. I feel
Mm,
like this is because of the things that are happening in it. It's so big, that sure the tie-ins are adding extra to it, but I feel like that's the purpose for these tie-ins versus the other ongoing issues that are happening right now, which will make you really feel the effect of what's happening in Devil's Reign. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that would add more impact to it because it seems like so like closed off from everybody else, even though major things are happening in it. Like the Fantastic Four are
yeah,
arrested.
yeah. And like you wouldn't know that unless you were reading it.
Right. So I don't know.
I feel you. What would you rate this?
I would give this a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed Lorna in it. The art was there were some moments that I didn't really enjoy from it, but I do like the story.
Okay, I would give this a 2.5. I thought it was fine story wise. The art was not up to standard. It was cool. Lorna was hot. Shout out to her.
Oh wow, I didn't know you. That's new. You not shading one of my faves.
Shout out to her. Next up, Eternals #9. Oh, I feel like this book hadn't been out for a while too when I was reading it, but
Hmm.
this was hot. Eternals continues to be a hot book.
Yeah,
You
it
know
was
what I'm
great.
saying? Um, Thanos is at Lemuria. He's tearing up the scene, trying to get to Phastos. He does.
Yes, he does.
he gets to him and like puts in the work. We see a lot of the Eternals trying to fight back. Athena deals with her lover who's turning into a deviant, so she has to kill him. I thought the scene of like Thanos was about to kill him, but then realized that like I would be showing him mercy if he did it. And he's like, I don't want people to think I'm merciful, and so he just like
That
leaves
line,
him.
I was like, ooh, yes.
It was really good. It was really good.
Yes.
And
That makes
then
me really excited for Immortal X-Men.
he's gonna kill it on that book for sure.
Oh man, Exodus. I really won.
And then we continue on with that. We also have Druids like telling them that he has to come back. On the other side of it, once the Eternals have kind of figured everything out and got together, they say we need to figure out how to stop Thanos. We find out Phastos said that he is both deviant and eternal, and so we need to figure some stuff out. And we see Ajax and Makari, and they're talking about like the history and just going back to find some type of way to stop this young man. And to do that, they're going to have to go into the one sleeping celestial that the Avengers now hold their headquarters in, which is probably leading up to this big summer event of the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals all fighting. But this is a hot book.
Yeah. Great book. I've never been one to like the Avengers having a headquarters in the body of a celestial. I think that's weird. So I am glad that it's kind of all coming to a head, and maybe they can get a new base or something after that, because I do think that's really fucking weird to be just living inside of a dead body.
I mean, he gave them permission.
I guess that still don't mean you got to do it.
I don't know. It's something different. Whatevs. Thanos is hot. I think Thanos is like a villain who I've always kind of appreciated. Obviously, he brings like the drama, but I feel like this is like really giving like some weight to the character that I personally just haven't seen in stories I've read of him in, or maybe he just doesn't have it. If it's somewhere else, please point me that way. But like I think now
I'm a cosmic girl, so like he has definitely like always kind of had this in charisma from Infinity War onto like all of his appearances out in space. I think my biggest fear for him would be anyone kind of like not being able to carry his charisma, if that makes sense, because he has been so like larger than life and he brings the drama and so consistently well that like you'd never want anyone to kind of like falter with that. But Kieran has been doing a fantastic job at like carrying that torch with I would probably say he's been bringing back the ruthlessness of Thanos. I think for a while, especially back in like the 80s and 90s, maybe a little bit in the early 2000s, Thanos was a lot more like
sanitized.
No, he was vicious. I feel like he became more sanitized post MCU, mostly because like he's fighting Avengers, so you can't really kill them. So you know what I mean? Like he can't really do too much out there. But now with Thanos becoming Prime Eternal and the Eternals can die, he's able to really like bring back that kind of everyone will kneel before me kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm into it. It's hot. What would you rate this?
I would give this issue a 4 out of 5. Maybe a 4.5 out of 5.
I agree. I give it a 4 out of 5. It's really good. I'm really excited to see like what goes on next, and I'm just really getting to love all of these Eternals and like enjoying getting to know them as well. It's hot. Okay. And before we get into the last book of the week, I do want to give a couple of quick shouts. Again, this was like a super huge week comic book wise. So it's like, Phoenix Endsong #4 was out. That book's still not that good though. Moon Knight #7 was out. It's fine. I don't like Tigra. She's got to go. She is betraying Mark for Black Panther. She's like watching them
See,
like she gotta go. She's never been my girl. Catwoman 39 was out this week. This starts the new run from Teenie Howard and Nico Leon as the new creative team. Black Manta #5, Aquaman the Becoming #5 were also out. Defenders #5. It was a lot of fifth issues popping up. And Avengers 52 also came out. I think people should kind of get back into that. I'm not gonna lie, I've become an Avengers enthusiast of Jason Aaron's run. It's really good. I'm sorry.
it's because of all the mess. I feel like if I had more faves and he was just doing, dumb superhero shit up there, I would be into it. But none of my faves are there.
Also, the biggest #1 that I can talk about this week is She-Hulk #1 came out, and Rainbow Rowell really knocked it out of the park with that book. Like, it is just everything that you envision in the She-Hulk. Were you ever into Sex and the City?
No.
Okay, well, Sex and the City kind of has it's a reboot series.
I know. I've watched.
That's because that's kind of like a vibe that She-Hulk books used to give a little bit, like a little Sex and the City. But basically, it's having its reboot series right now, and it's called And Just Like That, where it's hitting the next part of the women's lives, and that is what I equate this She-Hulk #1 to. Is just like that. It is really kind of recentering her life. It puts her back in the old apartment that Jan gave her. We see Jan in it. Titania shows up and they have a quick fight, and She-Hulk is like, "Why are we still fighting?" She's like, "You got your husband, you got a house, you're happy, who cares about all of that?" She's like, "But I actually enjoy fighting you too. Let's just meet up every now and again, duke it out, and then go our separate ways. We don't gotta impress each other." Okay. And Mary's like, "Cool." It's just please, if you have ever wanted to get into She-Hulk, you want to know anything about She-Hulk, you just want to experience her for the first time, please go and pick that up. It was such a good book. It was so heartwarming. I actually got a little emotional, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, your girl's back.
She's back. It's hot.
She's back.
It's hot. And with that, the last book on our list this week is The X Lives of Wolverine #1, which starts off the 10-week event that Wolverine is now having over in the X books. The premise seems to be that he is going back in time to rescue Charles Xavier from Omega Red, who is also somehow traveling back in time to kill Xavier.
Yes. Because he found out that he had some kind of adjustments to him that was secretly made by Beast from X-Force about his I can never pronounce that. His carbonadium. There we go. Yeah.
Carbonadium synthesizer.
Which that whole data page talking about Beast, being your job is you are the chef.
Cook. Get it. I'm sorry. I know everybody hates Beast because he's a horrible person, but I love it. I just think he is just so fun.
Terrible.
It's just he's just we need to get this done. I don't have time for the questions. I don't care about what you feel and how you feel about it. He's just do what I say. Thank you. Him and Brand.
Like that, but they got a power to back it up. Not just the mouth. But yeah, we see this whole fight that happens with Wolverine in the past, and he's basically fighting this I don't know how to pronounce, I don't know how to describe that he's able to just body jump, other than just saying he's body jumping.
I mean, that's really what it was.
He's like a parasite kind of body. Omega Red is this parasite thing that's body jumping from people to people, and when he jumps to their body, they also gain his powers of those tentacles, and he's trying to kill Xavier. If they're at the birth of Xavier, which we see also Cassandra. Yeah. And how she was a stillborn, and how she was named, and basically we see Wolverine as being sent back into the past. This is basically his Days of Future Past, kinda.
A little Terminator mixed in.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun.
Yeah.
I think
Cassandra's fantastic.
Cassara's art is amazing. I've said multiple times, I really like Percy's Wolverine. I do think he's a little over dramatic sometimes, to the point where it's girl, shut up. Yeah. But
he was talking about it works a lot of this.
Yes. But it works for Logan. I don't necessarily know I don't feel a reason yet why this needed to be like its own event. I feel like if you've been reading both Wolverine and X-Force, you kind of know what's going on, especially even like when Omega Red goes back to Russia and we run into Mikhail. We know that's been a story that's going on. And it just feels kind of more like Wolverine number 32.
22. Yeah.
What, you know. So,
I wonder if this could have been a crossover between just Wolverine and X-Force. You know what I mean? Like those two books have like a thing.
It's like, but we'll see. It's 10 weeks, so we're gonna be talking about it for a while.
When you honestly think about it from like the marketing standpoint, isn't X-Force getting its own new number one after this?
No, it's continuing.
No? Oh, it's continuing.
Yeah, Marauders is getting a new number one. X-Force New Mutants are just continuing their numbering. Excalibur turned into Knights of X. Way of X turned into Legion of X. And then Immortal and X-Men
Red. Oh, well, never mind. They could have just kept it going. This could have easily just been an arc between those two books. But again, from the marketing standpoint, it's Wolverine.
You're gonna push what works.
X office need that money.
Okay. And Wolverine brings in the money. Have you seen that meme? It's like the people in jail, and she's like, "I can fight with nails." And somebody was like, it was like, "This is Wolverine."
It's goated.
It is. I mean, again, I think if you're a big fan of Wolverine, you'll probably love this. I think if you're not, or you're not following with either of those two stories, then you might be a little bit confused. But it's cool. I mean, I know this is X Lives, next is F Dex, or is this X Deaths?
This was X Lives, and next is X Deaths, and then alternate.
And I think X Death is going to deal with like some of the more of the stuff that happened in Inferno.
Yeah, I saw some of the preview pages of her like running away, and it shows like literally the exact moment after her going through that gate and running and trying to get away from Mystique, who she just assumed would be right behind her.
Because I know I would have been.
Sorry. Would you have been? If I feel like Mystique was like, well, I'm gonna go cuddle up with Destiny for a little bit, and I'm gonna go. Then I'll rest up and I'll come after her.
I'd be like, no, I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like you're trying to create a cure that like destroys mutant kind or like stops us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already burned you alive once. You think we want to do it again?
Yeah.
All right, whatever. What would you rate this issue?
I would give it a 4 out of 5. I am intrigued by the story. Sure, it could have been just another Wolverine issue, but Wolverine's great, so I liked it. I think Percy has a really great voice for Wolverine, and Kassar's art is like he's one of my favorite new artists that's been coming out in these last few years. He's great.
I agree.
4 out of 5 for me.
Wolverine is great, so I too will give it a 4 out of 5. And those are our books of the week. So let's go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll come back.
Well, let's do it.
Your price. Just sit back in. Do you know I actually when you told me that you were going to do this panel, I went to go Google Korvac because I was thinking of the Bird Shi'ar guy that Rachel Summers dated during Ed Brubaker's Uncanny X-Men run.
Oh, who had that Phoenix Blade sword thing?
Yeah. But apparently
I forgot his name.
I think it was Korvac. I could have just made that up, but I feel like it was something with a K. But apparently this is something completely different.
Yes. So welcome back, everybody, to another relaunch. We're here for the panel section. And this episode, I wanted to do a close-up character of one of my favorite villains who only gets brought back around every so now and then, and that is Michael Korvac, better known as just Korvac. So
I didn't even know his name was Michael. I guess I didn't get far enough into the Wikipedia.
Yes. his name is Michael Korvac. So Michael is the kind of villain that, I love I'm here about the business and like I want to like get some stuff done.
Okay.
And that's who Korvac ended up becoming later in his story, but his story actually starts off kind of, I don't know, tragically. You tell me. So I'll give you a little backstory. The Michael Korvac was like the scientist back in the year like 3007. And do you know who the Badoon are? They're like these like lizard alien people.
Is that like in
Okay.
Marvel?
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
Maybe if I
there's
see
this, you
it.
probably see them. There's like this alien species called the Badoon. They're like these like lizardy kind of
About to look
alien
them up.
creatures. They like are taking over the soul system, and
Okay.
they get to Earth and they get ready to take it over. And you know how in TV shows like in Castlevania there was always like one human who actually also turned on the humans and helped the bad guys, like Hector.
Yes.
That's what Michael Korvac did. So the
Oh.
Badoon came in, they like took over and infiltrated and took over, and he decided to join them. Like
Okay.
when it was time to like help Earth, he decided to say no. He said fuck Earth and he helped the bad guys. It was
Mm.
he says it was because his like superiors at the time, like they never recognized his genius and
Mm.
they didn't like, give him his props. So when the bad guys came, he helped the bad guys. And the Badoon told them they were going to make him like this big minister of science for them and blah blah blah. So he joins the bad guys. He gets caught sleeping at his desk, and the Badoon say that no one is allowed to sleep. You don't deserve to even be a human. Like we hate humanity, and they like
Oh, okay.
they torture him and turn him into basically a cyborg. They tie his lower half. They connect his upper body to like this like machine, and effectively just make him like a cyborg. So he's only this like box from the waist down, and from the waist up, he's
Oh,
like cyborg thing. Yeah, he's got one eye.
okay.
Yeah, really crazy
That's
stuff.
karma.
Right?
She works
So,
quick.
don't she? And sometimes it's probably best not to like help the alien creatures, which I understand. Back against the wall, some things you may have to just have to join up with. But
Hey, he's a
I thought
cyborg now.
he's a
Does he get
cyborg now.
does he get like powers from being a cyborg? Does he like transform, shoot blast, things like that?
Yeah, so once he gets his cyber, once he only has like a upper body, he is gains these abilities to like learn energy basically, like and analyze stuff. Like he can analyze anything because he's like a cyborg. So after he becomes a cyborg, there's the guy, the collector. Was it the collector or was it the grandmaster? No, it was the grandmaster. The grandmaster is this like elder of the universe, big
Mm-hmm.
cosmic being. He's the one who does the like contest of champions.
Yes.
And
Love
he
that.
had this contest of champions where he had Doctor. Yeah, it's fun sometimes. It makes a good game. I wish
Yeah.
that they would make that like a real fighting game. Like,
There was one contest of champions back in the day in the 90s that Jesse Bedlam was in with
oh, okay.
with X-Force. They were fighting Iron Man. And of course like Iron Man is kind of trouncing them and then Bedlam beats him by himself.
Oh, dope.
It's
Okay.
really cute. Betsy's also in it. She teams up with Iron Man later on in the run to like free the other heroes, and she gets this weird like bone armor because she kills some alien and starts to wear it. It's
See,
hot.
some contest of champions could sometimes get a little too wild, but it's still fun. They can bring it back. But yeah, so Grandmaster is who doing the contest of champions. He ends up teleporting um, Korvac to the Contest of Champions and he fights Doctor Strange. And during this fight, he loses. Now, Korvac likes to tell the story that he lost on purpose. From what I
Yeah.
was when I read it, like it looked like he got his ass beat. But he says that he lost on purpose because he wanted to analyze like the Grandmaster's power.
Hmm.
And once he analyzed the Grandmaster's power, he like learned all this like infinite knowledge and could like teleport himself.
Hmm.
So he started teleporting himself and like recruited this group of people he called the what do you call them? The Minions of Menace, which he like recruited all these aliens for his own like minions and stuff. And he wanted to, with his new analyzing powers and with his new knowledge that he gained from the Grandmaster, he wanted to blow up the sun and use the energy that was going to happen from that explosion to transfer to himself because he was able to like absorb energy now from his new abilities,
Okay.
and become like
That's
super
crazy.
powerful. Yeah, because he wanted revenge. His whole thing has been like revenge. He wanted to gain power to get revenge against the Badoon who like changed him from the beginning. He like wanted to get more powerful so no one could do that.
Okay.
So he doesn't end up being able to blow up the sun because the Guardians of the Galaxy actually stop him. And the Guardians of the Galaxy plus Thor. The Guardians like found him out in space. It looked just like what they probably took inspiration from in, I think it was Infinity War when they found him in the ship floating like in the MCU. I forget which movie it was where he was like floating, but you see this in the comic where he's like floating out in space and the Guardians, he like lands on their ship. Guardians bring him in. It's pretty cool to see that. But they end up beating Korvac. Korvac teleports himself away at the last minute because he gained those teleportation powers earlier. And where does he end up? But on Galactus's ship. Now, if you remember what I said, he gained all this knowledge. He gained the ability to absorb energy and like cosmic energy from with the Grandmaster after he analyzed that. Once he ended up on Galactus's ship, he absorbed Galactus's like power cosmic that like powers his ship, and that ended up creating him into this like energy being of vast power.
And this is where your interest comes in.
This is where it comes.
Yes. Okay.
So he becomes this like big energy being, and he is able to basically like cosmically manipulate reality. Basically, he changes his body, gives himself a more humanoid body, so it's no longer just like a box from the waist down. And he goes by Michael, and he no longer is like fueled by revenge against the Badoon. What he wants to do now is like become a god. He's like, I have all this power now with the power cosmic. I think that I should be a god and I could like change the universe the way I see fit. So he
love an egomaniac.
I love it. Especially a powerful one. So he leaves and he flees back to, this is still like happening in the future. He goes back to like our present and just kind of like sit and waits. And there's this character called Starhawk who I'm not that like familiar with, but I guess in the MCU he was played by Sylvester Stallone. I didn't even know that was in there, but
he was one of the what are their names?
Ravagers?
Yes. I don't know. I was about to say Reavers. The Ravagers. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Starhawk, I guess, was one of the Ravagers in the movie, and I think in the comics he was a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The Guardians. So the Guardians of the Galaxy team that was like back in the day, the 90s and all that, it was all those Ravagers characters. So like Yondu, Starhawk, and all of them.
Yes. So this Starhawk guy, I guess, is like cosmically aware or something like that. So like he was aware of Korvac like gaining all this power. So Korvac felt that if all of the really powerful beings out there, Odin, the Phoenix Force, any of these kind of like powerful things, if they don't know that he's out there and like leave him alone, he can like kind of sort of shift reality on his own without getting like any interference. So that was his plan. So he went to Earth, was going to try to hide it out. Starhawk, of course, with his powers, found out about him, tried to fight him. They have this like crazy cosmic fight, and Korvac wins. Not only does he destroy Starhawk atom by atom, he rebuilds him and removes the part of him that would ever recognize Korvac. So like nothing about him would ever make him realize that he exists. So he's on Earth just like living his life. Nobody can really recognize him or whatever. The Guardians of the Galaxy from the year 3000 with like the old Starhawk and Vance Astro, who is Vance Astrovic, like the Justice version. So that's a different kind of story. I'm sure I've told that before in the previous episode that I talked about Justice. Go check that out, y'all. But that Guardians of the Galaxy team shows up in our time, and they're like, "Hey, Avengers, we're looking for this Korvac person. We know that he's like traveled back to this time because Vance Astro started the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we think that Korvac is going back to this time to kill Vance, so that he never starts the Guardians of the Galaxy, who he thinks is going to defeat him. So they're like, okay, well we can figure something out. We can go and check on Vance and do everything to like keep him safe. Long story short, Vance was fine. Like that was never what Korvac was even doing. He was just planning his own thing, and the Collector shows up. If you remember from another MCU character who was like, I forget, he was in the Guardians movie or in a different Infinity War maybe. But
when they went and got the stone.
The stone, yeah. Or the Collector starts bringing the Avengers on his ship, and he's like, I'm trying to save you guys because the first time I was collecting things is because I knew Thanos was coming. Now I'm collecting people because I feel there's some like crazy powerful thing coming, and I need to rescue you guys before you get killed by him. And before he reveals who that is, he ends up getting killed himself. And he was killed by Korvac. Yeah. But Korvac killed him because he's just that powerful. And so Korvac is still like trying to get his own plan this entire time. He's got this like girl who he meets. She like falls in love with him just from one sight. Turns out that this girl is actually the Collector's daughter, Karina. She was also in the MCU. She was the girl who tried to touch the Power Stone in the Guardians, but then like died. In the comics, she was actually going to be like, she was supposed to betray Korvac because the Collector created her to like defeat him basically, and she was supposed to defeat Korvac, but she didn't. She ended up falling in love with him, and they became like a couple. The Avengers end up finding Korvac because they like search all these homes, are looking for him, and they find this guy named Michael Korvac, and Starhawk is with them, and he's like, I don't even know who you guys are seeing. I don't know what you're talking about. And Korvac like freaks out. He's like, they know who I am. They're gonna figure out that I'm Korvac. They have this crazy fight, and what happens? Korvac kills them all.
The Avengers?
And, yeah, he killed them all, like one by one. The last people that survived were Wonder Man, I think Black Panther, and Captain America. But then they all got killed. Too. So after Korvac killed all of them, Karina was like, I don't like that you were turned on the Avengers, you turned into an evil person. And he felt like he was losing her, so he ended up like committing suicide basically and killing himself. And with his last bit of power, he revived the Avengers and brought them all back to life.
Okay.
He ends up like going off or whatever. He's got all this power. He is later brought back around because he basically like lost all that power cosmic, and now he's back to his like android form, and he wants to regain that power. He recently just showed up in the current Iron Man run where he was on Earth again and just like disguised himself as this like random scientist who wanted to harness the power of lightning and give you a bunch of energy. He presented this to Tony. Tony was like, okay, this sounds like a pretty good idea. Like I'll invest in it. But it ends up being like that guy was Korvac, and he was trying to absorb the lightning from this lightning storm to power himself up again. And he ends up being successful with that. Great story, by the way. I think I definitely highly recommend it. If you're a Hellcat fan, I thought some great stuff was in there for her. Also Moondragon and the original Human Torch is in it, because it turns out that when Korvac was brought back to life, the people who like found his body basically and like put it back together were the same people who made the original Human Torch. They like used older body parts of them. So Korvac kind of looked at the original Human Torch as like his brother.
Love a surprise sibling.
Right? Even in the robots, even robots get a
Love a
surprise.
surprise sibling.
Like, geez. But it was interesting that they kind of made the two of them kind of related-esque in a
Yeah.
way, or like kind of have they gave them this kind of bond with each other. So yeah, Korvac is currently in Iron Man trying to amass more power. And because he remembers what he was like when he was cosmically powered with the power
Mhm.
cosmic, and he feels like if he can just get to Galactus's ship again, he can tap into some of that power cosmic
Okay.
ship. So yeah,
Okay.
Korvac is one of my favorite villains because he is a crazy robot thing that is he just wants to rule the world, and I think it gives the character someone to really like fight.
Hmm.
He typically wins because he's just that powerful, but
Yeah.
usually he's like either outsmarted or something happens where he has to like kind of bounce.
Who where would you like to see Korvac kind of like go and fight that puts him out of that normal element? Obviously, I'm sure he fights the Guardians a lot. He's up in
He
space.
fights the Guardians, yeah.
Now he's doing Iron Man. Like, where do you feel, or who do you feel is powerful enough to kind of have him as a consistent threat?
You know, there was a time where I would have said like, oh, maybe the Guardians would have been cool again, like with Ewing's version of the Guardians, how it's this like rotating team of people. They could like have Korvac be this thing for him to go after,
Yeah.
have Korvac be this thing for them to go after. But personally, I think he would be a great like arc villain, honestly, for Blue Marvel. I think that like
Mm,
with all of the science background that Blue Marvel has, and like Blue Marvel's a good person, I think that he would want to like, I don't know, reason with him or something. I think that you could really tell a great story with the two of them against each
yeah.
other, and like the way that Korvac truly thinks that like he should have the power to change humanity and change like
Yeah.
the world, the universe, honestly.
Okay. I mean, I'm into
So I
that.
think that he would make. He's and the thing is like Blue Marvel needs someone. You know how we say on this show, who they gonna
Who are
fight?
you gonna fight?
He
Yeah.
needs someone to fight, and like anytime Blue Marvel shows up, it's kind of like he's gonna, if he uses his powers, like
It's
he's gonna
over.
win. It's over.
Period.
And I personally would love to see him and Korvac like go at it because Korvac is still like cosmically powered. He can absorb
Mm.
energy. He also has this like originally they gave him this like it was called the neural like energy beam that they had on his eye, but now they just give him telepathy. Like it's
That
not.
always works.
Yeah, just give it
It's
that.
easy.
But it's
Ooh, that
not
means
telepathy like
telekinesis is coming too.
basically. I don't know about that one. He already got enough power. But I
which
also
do you,
appreciate that he like kind of levels up. Did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z? Kind
yeah.
of like Cell.
Oh, I like Cell. He was fun.
But he's like, different forms. Like again, he has this one form, and the more he absorbs more energy, and he needs a lot of it to kind of like basically go to his next level. He
Okay.
does that. But the one for him to really tap into his like cosmic energy god form is he needs some power cosmic.
Do you have a preferred design of him? Because I know you said he like kind of has the boxy android thing going, but then I guess he also has like this energy form. And like, which
Mhm.
ones do you kind of like draw to? Which one do you feel like more people will be looking at?
I think more people would probably like his energy form. It looks cool. It's like a like galaxy kind of thing, you know.
Ooh, I do love a galaxy print.
You know what I mean? Like that galaxy kind of print, and but he still has like a human face and stuff. So like, and he
Mm.
has a regular human form too when he is like powered up and creates a human form for himself. Even though like ultimately he is just a cyborg. So yeah, I think I do like his energy form. I would like for him when he does, because it seems like a lot of the things that we say on this show end up coming true. So when he does become a Blue Marvel villain, I would like for them to give him like a costume.
The power of positive thinking.
I truly
I
see
love
it. Honestly, if it wasn't just like he should be like Blue Marvel's villain
it. Mm-hmm.
in the Ultimates. Like I'd love to see like the ultimate, because
Mm.
I know that you need usually whenever they have Korvac, he needs a team like fighting him. It's even in
Okay.
Iron Man, like Iron Man's got like a team of people. Misty Knight is in it, and a bunch of other characters. Like there's
Misty
a bunch of
Knight. What's she gonna
yeah,
do?
yeah. in the book
It-
they in the book, someone said that, but like,
it makes me think of like when people used to talk about Black Widow in the MCU and like Thanos coming, it's like she pulls out her guns. Like, girl,
exactly.
what are
Like,
you here for?
And she does pull out her guns and shoots some of Korvac's minions in the kneecaps, which is kind of cool. But I think that like in the book, Iron Man was like, ask all these people, like we can't get too big because we don't want it to like alert a lot of people that Korvac is back or whatever. We got to keep it quiet. But like these were just the scragglers who weren't doing anything. It was like, no.
For them, I really wish they would kind of like do something else with the Daughters of the Dragon. I really enjoyed Misty and Colleen when they're together and in that whole little element. But I don't know, it never really seems to stick for them.
It doesn't like, I don't really think it pops with the people.
Is it too
I feel like they end up being, no, I think that you could have a thing with like, these two women. I think it just probably needs to be updated.
Because I think it's something like Heroes for Hire that they always try and kind of jump back into. Or like when they just teamed Luke and Danny up, and it's like, yeah, it was great for the 70s or whenever it came out, but it's like now it just doesn't hit the same.
I don't think people are interested in purchasing heroes to do work anymore. I think they wanted to see them do it,
I can see that.
People ain't got no money. Well, I got money. I don't got no money to own a hero.
That's always kind of like messed up. Can you imagine going around saving people? All right, $30.
What if I ain't got it?
It's like, well, guess you're not
could
you
imagine being on the other side though, and you're the hero, and it's like, I'm charging you the $100, and they're like, oh, well, can I Venmo you the rest? All I got is $20. Can I Venmo you the rest?
Yeah, like, I'll take your phone instead. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Or I'm just gonna put this cat back in the tree. How about that?
No, truly. That's interesting. I mean, I
think Korvac. Korvac is a great villain. I think the one thing I feel like that has been missing a lot in Marvel comics, in my opinion, has been the big superpowered villains. It's wild that I've been having to read like an Iron Man book to really get that. But a lot of the villains right now don't have no powers. They too like, they're some punks. I would rather have some power back there. And Korvac is a great one.
I was about to say, I think with villains like that, sometimes you just also fall into the crux of like those really overpowered superheroes, where it's like you said, it's like, yes, the villains can always fight the teams of heroes, but it's also like, how many times do you want to have them do that within a certain year or something like that? So I do agree that someone like a Blue Marvel or maybe even like an Ultimates would be like a really good thing for Korvac, because Korvac feels like either you're going to do a very slow, long burn with fighting him, where it's like a lot of build up until the big final battle with him, or you're going to bring him up through a couple of times, but it's got to be against somebody who's like effectively knocking him back.
And he got the power.
Yeah, and he's got the power.
He took the Avengers like it wasn't nothing. Like, so I think that it'd be interesting to see him up against like the Ultimates.
Yeah.
I know he was the final
has there been any signs of him lately? What's going on with that?
He's in like a variant of him is in that Avengers Forever book, I think.
That's a good sign.
I don't think he's a mainstay, and I don't even think it's like a version that is familiar to like the 616 version. But I think like some kind of Simon Williams Wonder Man is over there.
I guess we just wait for his MCU debut.
Basically.
Which is like should be coming technically.
So, I mean, they've circled the drain around him. I feel like everything is like sort of kind of connected, and they run out of characters to add.
They're running out of characters, and like Vision's like doing back in his separate thing, and they can bring the brother in if they want to go that route.
We don't have to do that.
I mean,
that's not his brother.
What else they gonna
do? That's his. That is not his brother.
That's his brother, Simon and Vision. He's Uncle Simon.
No.
I don't know. You might need to accept.
Uncle Simon, he used to fuck on the wife. No.
I think one of the boys is like named after him.
Took his last name? I thought William.
William, Billy.
But his name is Williams.
Well, they're not gonna name him Williams. But it was like a thing because I read, oh my god, yes, because I feel like I read that when we did our Vision panel. I went back and I read that like Vision and Scarlet Witch series, and that was like the thing of why they were naming them, because they wanted to make sure that he was also tied to like Simon, because I think Simon was dead at the time, and it was supposed to be that Vision was like, oh, this was my brother, and like I want to remember him, he's a part of the family, so we're gonna name him William.
I want to name him Simon.
Now would be creepy. He used to have sex
Huh.
with his mother.
See, that's why that just gets so messy. Like, we don't need none of that.
But that's what the people love.
A good away from that.
That's the drama. That's the drama that we come for.
That lady is bad news in everything that she ends up touching. We're not great. No.
Okay.
No.
So you like Korvac in Iron Man right now? Yes.
Yes, I do, and I think that he's been greatly written, and the art fantastic. I do think it's probably approaching the final battle, and I don't know what's going to happen like after with him. So we'll see. I just saw the solicit for Iron Man 19, I guess, which is like in April, I think, and that'll be, I guess they said, is the final battle. So
okay, all right. Well, everybody, you got time to get into Korvac. So of all the like stuff you've read of him and you can kind of given us his history, which ones do you consider essential reading?
Definitely you have to read the Korvac saga, which is like the original stuff with him, and that is the Avengers 167 through 172, I think. It's an older stuff, is back from in like the 80s, but
that's when it was hot.
Some great stuff about. It was hot, yes. I'm sorry. Like it is. The whole team was great. You also get like a lot of Cap and Iron Man fighting in that. Cap doesn't like Iron Man at all. Iron Man is still like posing as Iron Man and Tony, like they're separate. So that stuff is going on back then. Yeah, I would definitely recommend the Korvac saga, and honestly, the Korvac, the most recent stuff with Korvac in Iron Man, I would recommend that as well. And that has been Iron Man, I think it started, honestly, the whole run has been about him. He popped up at the end of issue 1, so pretty much starts there.
I do remember that. You remember I was reading that Iron Man book for a little bit because I wanted to get the Hellcat content, but it just wasn't for me. I'm just not an Iron Man fan.
Oh, me neither. But I like, I can read it if the writing is good.
I feel like Iron Man has a lot of like what you enjoy though. You like the machine stuff. You like the techie stuff. The science. He's smart sometimes. Korvac's in it. It feels like
I just don't like Iron Man.
Yeah, he was like really annoying. I couldn't deal.
I'm okay with it. I like the fact that Hellcat was always calling him out on being annoying in it. Like
she was, and then also they started doing like they started doing like hinting at them getting feelings for each other, and I was like, I can't deal with yet another fave and her bad taste in men. Not right now.
Yeah, I mean your faves, they did not pick them well.
Oh my gosh, I just can't watch someone else self-destruct. But I'm glad that she's thriving in it nonetheless. So you guys should pick it up just for her, if that.
Check it out, y'all. Oh, you know what? Also, I do think that you should check out Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Season 2, Episode 6. There is an entire Michael Korvac episode. It's titled, I think it's called Korvac. And they actually do a pretty good job of like kind of changing his story. They don't make him as like reality warping kind of power. They kind of just make him cosmically powered. And instead of it being the Badoon who changed him and he was the scientist, they actually make him a guy from Earth who the Kree took and they experimented on him, and like he became this like crazy cosmic villain. Now,
do you think that would be like his MCU origin?
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, because I kind of do. Now, in the Marvels that's coming out, like Captain Marvel 2, there have been like hints that that one guy is going to be probably Blue Marvel, and they haven't really said who the villain is going to be, even though they cast her. And the Marvel MCU formula recently has been they will gender bend a villain from the comics, and like bring in someone like that. So I started to think that like, one of the problems with Carol in the MCU is that she's too powerful now. Like, we saw you break up all them ships, you saw you fought Thanos. Who you gonna fight? So like, she would need someone powerful. And I think that if they adapted like the Earth's Mightiest Heroes version of Korvac into the MCU, I could totally see them doing something where, okay, we couldn't make a Captain Marvel, let's try again. And we made Korvac. And they just, I don't know, instead of Michael, it's Michaela. Or something. You know.
Do you have a fan cast?
Honestly, that's kind of what I want to happen. because I would love it if they could if I would love it if they used that synergy to make Korvac a Blue Marvel villain from that. Because I do think that Blue Marvel's going to be in that movie somehow. And I would love it if they just took that and instead of making Korvac like a villain for Carol, because I think that he's way too powerful for her, that he should be fighting Blue Marvel.
Okay. I'm into it. Like I said.
I do. I see that kind of happening in the MCU, and I think Blue Marvel could use the push.
Okay. Well, everyone definitely go pick up those. You know, hope for some Korvac action in the MCU. Hope for some Blue Marvel versus Korvac action in the MCU. And just Marvel in general, because we need more Blue Marvel content.
Yeah, and check out that episode. Let me see what y'all think about that animation. And like you said, more Blue Marvel content.
Yeah, I've actually never seen that cartoon, though. I've heard really good things about it.
Oh, maybe we should add that to like a rewatch, some like random episode or something. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Let's take a little break, and then we'll come right back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite part of the show, the relaunches. Now, hopefully, today, dang, maybe I shouldn't use today's relaunch then, because the last relaunch I feel like we did was very successful.
Let's talk about it, okay? Okay.
You know,
let's talk about it.
I don't know if you guys remember. Our last relaunches, mine was I wanted Sam to be Captain America again. I wanted him to be working with President Fisk, but like the main thing was that he was Captain America again. What has been announced since that relaunch has happened? Sam is coming back as Captain America in his own book this May. And I cannot wait.
New shield and all
and
of
yours.
Yes, yours, I brought up Elektra, how I wanted her to like, after this Daredevil thing was done, she was going to be more lethal again and get her name and all of that happening. And what was just announced? Elektra number 100 coming out in April. She's turning back into my lethal assassin girl, fighting Typhoid Mary. Somebody's listening.
I think she might still stick a little bit of Daredevil up in there.
No, she's going to slice that girl's neck.
Let's go over our relaunch this week. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
You know what? I'll go first. It's pretty quick. Okay. This character is someone that like I actually kind of enjoyed when I used to read a lot of the Ultimate comics back when they were coming out, especially Ultimate Spider-Man. Obviously when it started as Peter, I was a fan of it, especially when it became about Miles. I love that too. And one of the characters I was introduced in it was Bombshell, and her name is Lana Baumgartner. Wow. She has this. I really don't like her jacket, but like I like the rest of her costume, and she can shoot these blasts of like explosions basically from her hands. And she was a villain in the Ultimate Universe. Her and her mom used to go around robbing banks, but she was like the cute kind of villain where her and Miles would kind of flirt with each other and stuff like that. And then when she got pulled over into the 616 universe after Secret Wars, now they have her basically like magically, well not magic, it's comic book retcons. She goes to the same school as Miles now, and they are both on the champions. She's more of a hero. Now, my relaunch for her is, girl, fuck all that noise. We're going back to the streets and going to villains. And I would turn her to become a new villain for Miles and have her just go back to adding to his rogues gallery, because the one thing that I think Miles always will need is characters of his own that aren't just like
Yeah.
repeats of Peters
Yeah.
or the typical Spider-Man villains. You know, sure you can have the Sinister Six, but it's the same characters. I would love it if he started to have some of his own rogues gallery. So like just bring Bombshell back around. If she's in the 616 now, that's great. So we can just keep the same character and just make her a villain again. There needs to be
Okay.
a lot more like powerful villains out there doing some stuff and like wreaking some havoc for the heroes to actually do something instead of fighting with each other all the time. So I
That's what
think
we're
that we need to start doing it. So go ahead and make Bombshell a villain.
Okay, Miss Bombshell. I'm into it.
And I would
All right.
have her in the Spider. I'd probably have her like bounce around a little bit as like cameos everywhere, but I would have her be Miles's villain.
Specifically. I'm into it, and I'm
Mhm.
I'm also of the mind that he should have his own little rogues gallery that isn't just a repeat of Peter. So I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. My relaunch this week is for the Hellions team. I have been doing a rewatch of the show Mindhunter on Netflix. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's basically about how they create the FBI creates the process of like profiling serial killers and like how they act and like really get into their mindsets. And so the Hellions program over in the X camp was something that I really enjoyed. I actually really like a team that has like kind of the villains or the tortured people reforming to do something good, like a Suicide Squad, a Thunderbolts, a Freedom Force, that type of trope. I'm really into that, and I think it's something great. I think for this one, I would not have Mr. Sinister in charge of it because he is a horrible person who does not need to be in charge of it. But I would actually have Miss Marvel Girl, Jean Grey, spearheading this program
Mm.
of the Hellions. I feel like for Jean, you need to get her away from her husband for a little while. And she is the type of character who is very sanctimonious. I think X-Men Red showed that
Yeah.
she is someone who leads with love and she wants peace. And, just like how you said earlier during X-Men Devil's Reign, she's the one who's a little bit complicit sometimes. Um,
Mm.
and with that, I see Jean kind of taking this Hellions program and like mixing a little bit of that Mindhunter feel into it, and having her really dealing with some of these people who have these villainous tendencies on Krakoa, and like finding out what are the patterns and like why they do the things they do, and like she could take them with her to be out on a team and like doing outreach for mutants and trying to make them better people, and like also probably even looking for some other mutants who haven't come to Krakoa who are doing bad things and like really figuring out what makes people tick. I think Jean is the person who should kind of always be like the counselor a little bit. Like that's what she gives. The mom, even.
Okay. Okay, I
Um,
like that.
I don't
So
have
instead of
like
Sinister leading this team, you want instead of
Jean.
Sinister basically using the Hellions to get whatever kind of missions he gets done, you have Jean coming in being holier than thou and telling people how to
Exactly.
like live. Okay.
Exactly. And then I think you can even kind of expand what she does in that sense. Like I think of someone like Sync, who was said to be depressed when he came back from his resurrection. Who's talking to the other mutants who are like that? I think of someone like Domino over in X Force. When she died, she was kind of saying she didn't want to forget. She wanted those memories of that. Even Logan, when he talks about the resurrection protocols and like how coming back from constant death can kind of mess people up. Who's talking to these mutants who are dealing with that type of stuff? Who's overseeing the ones who are dealing with this stress and this PTSD of dying and coming back and like not handling things well? Who better to do that than Jean, the nosiest person on Krakoa?
Yeah, yeah. T.
I think of so
I
many
think that would
things.
be a great role for her.
Um, I don't have like a full team set for her yet. I have a couple of like ideas of who I could see potentially being there. I think of someone like Toad, who was just in the pit. You could even have her going down to the pit and dealing with those people. I think of someone like Blink, who was a part of Celine's Necrotia team, of like all the mutants who like had really horrible things happen to them. Although I'm not really sure if like the Blink that's around is the same Blink. I know there have been like some stuff going on with that.
I don't know. Blink is weird. I
Um,
feel like they pull her from the exiles every now and then, but then it's not that
yeah,
one no more. I don't know.
it's weird. Then even like Senyaka, who was another one that's a part of that team. Marrow, I know you don't like Marrow, but like she
I
is
don't.
obviously a mutant who's very messed up in the head. And I remember during that Simon Spurrier X Force run, she like had a baby that she lost, so she could get her powers back.
Oh,
So that's something that some trauma she could be going through, and I think Miss Nosy Gray would be great for all of that stuff.
digging into people's traumas. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it
like
would be
building her
interesting.
whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's my relaunch for the Hellions.
I would read it. Seeing her interact with all those different characters, I'd be into it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Well, then that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you get your podcast. We really appreciate all the comments you guys have been sending over. Thank you so much. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can find us, you can email us any questions you have or any comments, whatever you want to hear us talk about on the show at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media platforms at Kenny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keenan Lance, and there's an underscore at the end.
Boom. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace out.